Last year, we started a new tradition. We have started inviting a St. Paul's alum who is in their senior year of high school to address our graduates and be the keynote speaker, knowing that you would have a shared experience with them, having sat in those same pews just 4 years earlier. Tonight, I have the honor of introducing tonight's keynote speaker, Brendan Marquardt, class of 2012, son of Stephanie and Matt Marquardt, class of 1982. On paper, Brendan is the typical alum who you would ask to deliver a keynote to his alma mater. He maintained a perfect GPA through high school. He scored in the 99th percentile on the ACT. He played football, and he was just named to Central Catholic's Theater Hall of Fame. But these accomplishments just scratched the surface of talent for this young man. When Brendan was in the 4th grade, he and his brother Jackson formed a rock band called Bet Me I'm Lying. They now have 4 albums, are on iTunes, and have toured throughout the US and England. If you ever have time for a good story, ask them about England. They now have a band called Second Generation Shakers that is based in Princeton, New Jersey and New York City. If he looks a bit tired, it's because last night he was playing the drums in New Jersey with the Second Generation Shakers. They had 2 events at Princeton, and he still made it here today. Last summer, Brendan attended film school at UCLA, studying movie directing and voice acting. He voiced several cartoon characters from some independently produced cartoons. This summer, he's been hired to compose music for a professionally produced video game before he enrolls in the prestigious Tisch School of Arts at New York University. Brendan plans to major in game design and digital interactive media and minor in film. Please give him a warm welcome.
So how are you all doing? All right, so graduates of St. Paul's. Right now, I want you to just sit back and remember. Remember the dirt and the lack of showers at Wolf Creek. Remember the spirit and friendly rivalries of Field Day. Remember Father Hires' way of delivering, the scriptures, the not, but. Remember that. Remember how excited you got over tag days, ice cream socials, show and tell, the middle school dances, beating St. Cecilia's and Skycrest at anything, and the trips to Sea Camp in Washington, D.C. Just remember all of that. Now, some of you graduates are probably, sneaking a look at your phone, checking the time, wondering how much longer it'll be until you officially graduate from St. Paul's. And yeah, I was the same way. You're tired of being considered as a child, and especially, all you lifers that stood up, you might be a little tired of being at the same place for about 9 years. You're looking forward to meeting new people in high school, having more experiences and getting on with becoming an adult. Like I said, I was the exact same way, and I know at this time when I was graduating, the last thing that I wanted was for someone to tell me how much I was going to miss St. Paul's when I was just so ready to get out of there. But here's the thing. Like it or not, you're going to miss St. Paul's. Because St. Paul's is really awesome, whether you realize it or not. All those things that I asked you to remember and all the other things that you experienced at St. Paul's, it's a part of who you are now. The things you've learned, your friends, your struggles, and your accomplishments, all of these things have been a part of you at St. Paul's, and you have a lot to appreciate. So now that you're graduating and you're moving into the family of St. Paul's alums, you need to know that there are certain characteristics that alums of St. Paul's share. First of all, they all tend to have great work ethics. When they set a goal for themselves, they do what it takes to achieve it. In my experience, even St. Paul's alums who weren't all that motivated while at St. Paul's really turn it on in high school, and it becomes almost instinctual for them whenever they have work to do. Like, for example, my brother Jackson is a great example. To put it lightly, at St. Paul's, he wasn't a great student. If you want an example, my mom got a speeding ticket when she was frustrated at seeing his report cards once. But here's the thing. St. Paul's instilled in him a love of learning and a great work ethic. And when he went to high school, everything just clicked all of a sudden. He became a straight-A student in the IB program, and right now he's in Princeton University. And I've seen many other St. Paul's alums apply their work ethic to their high school academics. However, the St. Paul's work ethic goes far, far beyond academics. I know many alums who've become outstanding athletes, actors, artists, and leaders. And the point is that you've learned how to work hard, and you're all well-equipped for high school and beyond. But St. Paul's Knights are not just hardworking. They're ambitious people. They're good people. I've noticed that whenever volunteers are required for service projects, requested for service projects or leadership roles, the St. Paul's alums are almost always the first ones to volunteer. We step up to get things done, and we're also some of the nicest people anyone can ever meet. We look out for each other as well as other people, and it becomes almost second nature to us, no matter where we end up in high school or in life. So as compassionate, engaged, hardworking people, we have the capacity to do some amazing things. But first, you gotta survive high school. I'm not gonna lie, high school is not easy all the time, and not always fun. But nothing worth pursuing is easy. There are also, though, some amazing experiences waiting there for you. You just have to realize it takes some time to become comfortable in high school. And trust me, you can and you will do it. As you start this journey, I have not three. Oh wait, you were supposed to say that. That was my fault. But pieces of advice to give to you. Can't count. Okay, so first, never ever lose that great work ethic that St. Paul gave you. Even though being smart obviously helps, your success in high school depends a lot on just working hard. Personally, many classes I took in high school had nothing to do with anything I would ever even think of doing in life. As someone who's going to be studying game design and filmmaking, many high school's courses were on subjects that I'll never even think of again. IB chemistry isn't going to help me make a video game, and AP biology isn't going to help me make a movie. And those courses weren't easy. They were some of the hardest, but I still had to work hard in them, even if the materials seemed completely unimportant. Colleges are going to expect you to take those types of courses and do well in those challenging areas. And probably more importantly, as an informed, educated person, is that you should understand how the world works through all kinds of lenses and not just the ones you're comfortable wearing. The bottom line is that a good work ethic, it opens doors and increases choices and expands your appreciation of the world. Second, have a good work ethic, but also enjoy high school. Find the right balance in your life. In high school, you should be hanging out with friends and doing things that makes high school worth remembering. You'll be busy figuring out who you are and what you want to do out of your life, and that'll take some time to figure out. And you can't do that if you spend all your time focusing on academics. It seems kind of contradictory to the first point I was making, but it's a really important balance to find. I promise you that you'll learn just as much, if not even more, from the late night conversations that you have with friends and all the activities that you do. You learn a lot about yourself just through the little things like that. And now that leads me into my third piece of advice: find your passions. For me, one of my first passions was playing the drums. I started world drumming here with Miss Swan back when I was in, it was sometime in lower school. And I began taking private drum lessons when I was 8 years old. By the time I was in 4th grade, my brother and I had formed a rock band with him as a singer and guitarist and me on drums. And then we had 3 other neighborhood kids join the band, and we began writing our own music, performing everywhere we could. And for me, it's like an escape. Whenever I'm drumming, I forget about all the problems that I have going on, and I completely get lost in time. You need to find that escape for yourselves. Figure out something that you truly love to do and what will make you lose all sense of time when you're doing it. You'll need that escape when life gets challenging, because at times it will get very challenging and stressful. You also may never know where your passions will lead you. At this point, my band's had 3 albums on iTunes. I would have never seen that coming at the beginning. We've toured across the country several times, and even in Great Britain last year. And Trust me, some of the stories I'm not allowed to tell you. But the point is, I had no clue when I picked up a drumstick for the first time that it would lead me to traveling all the way across the world. And it's opened other doors for me as well. I just signed a contract to provide music for an independent video game being developed in the West Coast. And being a composer of a video game, I never saw that coming either. But you never know where your passions are going to take you. So never let adults or peers steer you away from the activities that you truly love. If you're passionate about something, pursue it. I've loved video games ever since I was 4. Even as a little kid, I was designing and diagramming ideas and levels for these little fantasy video games that I made up in my head. And admittedly, I did this a lot at St. Paul's when I was supposed to be taking notes. And many people have grown out of their passions for various reasons. They might not think it's practical or mature enough, but I've stayed with the same ones I've had ever since I was really young. And now I can't wait to study video game design at one of the best programs in the country. To be in a class analyzing what makes a game great and trying to apply that concept to my own game, it's a dream come true. And now don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with outgrowing passions. We all do. But make sure you're leaving them for the right reason, because you want to, and not out of some misguided attempt to fit in or please other people. And now finally, my biggest piece of advice is be scared, but do stuff anyways. The biggest regret people have often is that they didn't take enough risks. Unlike St. Paul's, when you start things in high school, everything seems to be a risk. Whether it's going out for a sports teams or a drama productions or a student government, it can be intimidating to put yourself out there. But in the immortal words of Shia LaBeouf, just do it. Take a risk and try something new. The worst case scenario is you decide it's not for you, but you never know what's going to happen if you don't try it. And yes, it's something that you hear people say all the time, but it's because it's true. So, in conclusion, one last thing I have to say to all of you is, congratulations. Your graduation is a tremendous achievement, and you should all be proud of it. On behalf of the entire family of St. Paul's graduates, we want to welcome you into our family of fellow graduates, and I have no doubt that each and every one of you will make all of us proud. And please know that you will all be a part of the St. Paul's family forever. Thank you.